Hey lovelies, Larissa J here and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, welcome. Now today, this video topic is more so for people who are married or planning to get married at some point in the future. So if you're already married or if you would like to be married, this video is for you. Today, I want to talk about how to serve in marriage, because in a previous video of mine, I talked about serving your spouse, and I had a really great question, and that was, well, how do you do that? So today I'm going to answer that question and give you some examples and ideas of what you can do to serve your spouse. I think that this is really important even before you get married, to start thinking about this and planning and preparing how you're going to serve your future spouse. In that previous video, and I will leave a card up above as well as a link down below for you to check it out. But in that previous video, I was talking about how important it is to start thinking about how you're going to serve your spouse. And when two spouses are seeking to serve one another, both of them get their needs met. For more information on that topic, make sure you check out that previous video. So today, when we're talking about how to go about serving your spouse, whether you're thinking about your future spouse or if you're currently married and you're thinking about your right now spouse, the way that you can go about serving them, there's so many different things that you can do in order to serve them. So I just wanted to bring some of them to your attention, some of my favorites. The way that I like to explain this is really thinking about how you can lighten your spouse's load. How can you make things easier and lighter for them? That's one thing that I like to think about with my husband. I just think about, how can I make his day brighter? How can I make his load lighter? How can I help? And that is how I go about seeking to serve him. And he does the same thing for me. It's a mutual thing. So we're both seeking to serve one another, and it just works really, really well. So one example that I think of right off the bat is cooking. Now, this could be husband or wife, but cooking for your spouse, especially if you know that they had a long day, and just making sure that a meal is provided. Now, if you don't know how to cook, of course you can order out, but just taking that that load off of thinking about what are we going to eat, or what's for dinner, I need to get this prepared. There have been times where I've had a busy day at work and my husband has decided he knew what we were having because I put the meals in our calendar, so he knew what we were having for dinner, and he knew that I had a rough day, and he just took the initiative and prepared dinner for me, instead of me having to do it myself. And that, to me, was service. He didn't have to do it. I could have easily just come home and did it, but because he knew my day was rough, he just decided to take that initiative. There have been times where I've had, a rough week, and he, decided to take initiative and just cook breakfast for us. And I do the same thing for him. Usually I'm the one who does the meal planning. So for me, that is my act of service, where I take the time out to plan our meals. I do monthly meal planning. If you would like to see a video about that, let me know. But I do monthly meal planning, and so I take the time out to plan our meals for the month, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, do all the grocery shopping, and then get all that stuff put away. And so for me, that is a form of service. Or cooking those meals, or doing like a freezer meal prep, that also is a way of service. So just that whole, because we all have to eat, right? So just that whole meals, dinners, cooking is an area in which you can serve your spouse. And like I said, if you don't know how to cook, well, you can use recipes, but also you can get something out. Hey, I ordered dinner. I know you had a rough day. I ordered dinner in for us. It's going to be delivered in 5 minutes, or I'm going to go run and pick it up, or just have dinner already there on the table when your spouse gets home, is one way that you can serve them. Another thing that I think about is just the whole household duties and chores. If there's something that your spouse usually does, if someone usually is the one who does the laundry, or they're usually the one that vacuums, and they're not feeling well, or they're under the weather, or they're just tired, it's been a rough week, if they've had to stay late at work, one way that you can serve them is by doing it for them. So instead of saying, oh, well, they normally vacuum, so I'll just let them get to it. If you see that they need that, they could be blessed by that extra support, go ahead and do it for them. My husband and I do that for each other. We both have things that we, want to take care of around the house, but if it's just really busy or we just happen to be tired or not feeling well, then, we take it on for the other person. And that is another way that you can serve your spouse. That could be, cleaning the bathrooms, doing the laundry, going grocery shopping. Any of those things are ways that you can help and serve your spouse. Gas is another thing that I think of. It's always a blessing to me when my husband puts gas in the tank. I obviously can do it myself, and I've done it many times before for myself, but it's always a blessing, especially, when it's just a busy week where he just pumps the gas for me and my tank is full and ready for the next week. That is a blessing to me. So that is a way that he serves me. How you can help your spouse and help them save time even is one way that you can go about serving them. Another thing that I think about is just we're busy, right? Everybody's busy. So if they had a rough week, if they're feeling stressed or overworked or tired, giving them a massage is an act of service that you can do for them, whether they need their feet rubbed, a back rub, run their bath water, or whatever it is that's going to make them feel relaxed. Doing that for them is an act of service. Working out with your spouse can be an act of service if that's something important to them. Sometimes, I might be tired, but I know my husband loves working out. That's an act of service. And I'll say, you know what, I'm going to work out with you. Even though that may not be the first thing on my list of things to do, I take the time out to do it with him because it's an act of service, because I know that's something he really enjoys. I enjoy it too, but sometimes if I'm tired, it's more of an act of service. So that's another thing that you can do. The massages. If, as a teacher, I'm on my feet. If I'm on my feet all day or I've been ripping and running and my feet are tired, my husband will give me a foot rub. That's an act of service. So thinking about how you can help your spouse and make them even feel better physically is an act of service. Another thing that we like to do is like special treats. So just like a little surprise, nothing big, nothing major. It could be just a little small surprise that your spouse is not thinking of. So maybe when you ran to the store, you picked up their favorite candy or, their favorite flowers, if you're into flowers, or whatever the case is. Just thinking of them and showing them that you're thinking of them can be an act of service. Sometimes, my husband or I will just go out of our way. It may not be like, oh, I'm stopping at the store, but sometimes I'll just stop at the store specifically just to get him just his favorite little treat, just to make his day a little bit brighter. And he'll do the same things for me, and that is a blessing. It's an act of service. Sacrifices can also be an act of service. Sometimes that's even sacrificing your sleep. So if your spouse isn't feeling well, or if they're having a hard time sleeping, whatever the case is, sometimes sacrificing your own sleep to help serve them and make them feel better and take care of them and meet their needs is also an act of service. Whether that be, if they need some sort of medicine that you're giving them, or if you're giving a massage, or if you are just staying up with them and rubbing their back, or praying over them, speaking over their body when you would otherwise be sleeping, is a huge sacrifice, and it means a lot to your spouse. So even sacrifice in that way counts as serving your spouse for sure. Lastly, taking your spouse's opinions and feelings into account when you otherwise don't necessarily have to, is an act of service. So maybe it's a certain hairstyle that your spouse is fond of or not too fond of, and taking that into account is an act of service, because it's their opinion and you're showing them that you value their opinion. I would say, in order to serve your spouse, putting them first and thinking of how you can make things better for them is an act of service. So I encourage you today, whether you're married or you plan to be married one day, start brainstorming and thinking of how you can serve your spouse today. And let me know in the comments. Give me some more ideas. What do you like to do, or what do you plan to do to serve your spouse or your future spouse? If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.